All right, let's just start off right off the bat. So, customer interested in this, it's actually one of Luke's customers. I didn't catch his name. So, hi, Luke customer. I'll get your name eventually, I'm sure. He may have told me it. So, it's got some mud in here, so I apologize about that. I haven't had the chance to wash this yet. It's actually not even fully dismantled yet, so it's close though. So, what we'll do here, because it's the only hopefully grade A we have, well, I mean, I wish I had 100 grade A's, but I don't have any grade A's, and I think this one might be a grade A. I just got this one in, and we ripped the axles out from under it, and yeah, so hopefully it's gonna have a good frame, hopefully it's gonna have a good tub, but you're gonna see it with fresh eyes like I'm seeing it right now, other than the top I've looked at pretty closely. So what does pre-dismantle mean? Just for you those don't know or haven't been explained, it just means that the Jeep isn't fully done yet. We'll show it the best we can, but we're so busy right now. As you can see, we got some stuff going on here, 7 acres of stuff going on. And right now, since we're a full production yard, we're so busy, we really cannot just go out and just like, okay, let's do this Jeep today and let's do this Jeep today. So we pull parts as they sell, as they need to be stocked over in inventory. And so tubs, usually we have extra help and we can usually get through and have tubs listed, but lately that hasn't been the case. So past few weeks, we've basically been showing tubs that people are interested in, and hopefully they're somewhat dismantled. This one is luckily somewhat dismantled. And then going over it the best we can. We're gonna list a price at it based off what we see in this video. That might be more than you were quoted, that might be less than you were quoted. But then basically if we get it, let's say you say, okay, I want to take a shot of this one. I gotta make sure I don't tip this thing off. It's a little tippy and a little windy today, so yeah, I'll go over this thing because it might take a dive. All right, I'm gonna have to be a little more cautious. Dropping this height might not do much, but doing it's a little uneven. So anyway, back to what I was saying. It basically ensures that you're not going to pay more, and if it comes back worse than we thought, then we either refund it if you just don't want it at all, or if you go, you know what, I can still use that, but then at that point we'd say, okay, well, this is what it would be worth in the condition we found it out in. So kind of locks it in. It gives you a little bit better pricing, because we no matter what, you'll save at least $500 off on a pre-dismantle price that we list. And I would say most of the tubs in the past 2 years have sold this way. So this is very common for our yard to do it this way. And you won't find a lot of yards that actually specialize in tubs and frames like we do, but we do it, and this is the way that we're able to do it. So cash flow purposes, this is what makes it happen, okay? So that gives you the little spiel there. If I didn't tell you already, this is Grand Junction, Colorado. It's a beautiful fall day. It's about 82 degrees, which is awesome compared to, I don't know, a couple weeks ago when it was over 100. Dry as desert air out here. Don't have any humidity, so that's good and bad. Not very good for your skin, but a little bit easier to breathe and function in versus my cousins and stuff that live down in like South Texas, and awesome down there too, but unfortunately super humid. So okay, so anyway, first and foremost, I can't see what's underneath this diamond plating. I'm gonna lift it up here in a second. I'll rock it, make sure it's not tippy, and we'll get behind it best we can. We'll look at the corners best we can, and we'll go from there. But at the end of the day, that might be a place that we can expect. So we're gonna already adjust it for pricing based on maybe something here with this step. These steps, well, some of these were factory on them. I don't know what the placement is on this one, but usually this is an area they like to rust here. So I wouldn't be surprised if we find something there. But again, we can do pretty good here and look behind. And actually, that looks really good back there. That looks awesome. You gotta have the bolt holes there, of course, but it looks really good, actually. And even back through here, diamond plating, that looks all great. So, and then the other thing, this is an area that you almost have to pull, even if it's not, before you can show it at all, because this is an area that it's really hard to speculate. I can look a little bit when I buy a Jeep in this weird well and kind of see if I'm going to be possibly facing rust here, which looks like, yeah. So there is a little bit. So if the roll bar wasn't out of it and the only had option was to look at the Jeep, I would always suggest people looking in this area for CJs. CJ5s, 7s, doesn't really matter, especially if a roll bar mounts here. The later roll bars mount to the floor here and then to the rear. The early roll bars, so your early CJ7 and 5 tubs, they mount up the top of these wheel wells. That's how I can tell an early versus a late. This is a non-tailgate model. This is, when I first got into this 18 years ago, I didn't realize there was even such a thing, but this is a thing. And you may or may not need a tailgate. If you don't want a tailgate, this is a perfect tub for you. If you do want a tailgate, and you know a body guy, they can make this a tailgate. But this is more likely it was a Renegade tub. Renegades are the only ones that didn't have tailgates. And because it's a 5, that's only on a 5, by the way, that's not a 7. So, but anyway, so the fact that the roll bar's out allows it to get in. So this is definitely gonna be patched. And it's got a good 4 inches, maybe 5 from the corner here, if you can see the lighting, corner here to here. And folks, I like to tell you that perfect CJ tubs exist, and I'm not just trying to sell you on this one, but I'm telling you, for overall, at least for what we've seen right now, if this is the only issue with this tub, this one and the other side possibly, this is still a high grade tub. They are very, very hard to get CJ anything tubs anymore. So don't discount it for that reason. If it's if you're looking and you're wanting, you know, especially if you're on East Coast or coastal and dealing with rust, Flintstone style. I mean, look at the floorboards. This thing's beautiful. I'm gonna raise it again here in a second. I am gonna shift around because I think it's a little tippy, but cowling looks good. Obviously the front nose is gonna come off. If you need fenders, this one actually, well, that's got a good ding up there, but they don't look too bad. This has got a ding right there, which I always like to show. If it's got a damage on it, can you get in behind it? And you can fully. So a lot of times you'll get dings damage where they're into boxed areas, you know. Sometimes I see rust in this area a lot on CJs. As a matter of fact, there's a tub. Actually, I think we did sell it finally, but there was a tub that the guy had patched, and it was in this area. And this is a boxed in area under here. A little more difficult to repair that or repair it correctly. So, okay, got a couple little scrapes and dings there, damage there, and a little bit of rust coming up in that little area right there. Let's see if that goes all the way. Yeah, so it's right at that seam. So seams are always important to look at. I always like to look in any visible seams I can. And most of the stuff I'm showing you right here, if you're out looking at a Jeep on eBay, not physically there, obviously, these are areas you can ask the seller and say, hey, can you take a picture of, for example, that area right there? They're not going to take a roll bar out for you, but can you take that photo? And I can usually get a seller to take a photo there. And pretty clear, especially if their photo is focused, if you can see anything there. So, okay. And then the back here, of course, immediately you got cracking back in here. This has got filler in it. This is what filler does. So if you ever see a Jeep that's got cracks, that's not the metal that's necessarily cracked. That's just the filler. Now, why is that filler in it? There could be a couple reasons for it. One is it could be damaged. It could have been rear-ended. And we'll look at the other side here in a second. I know we looked at it briefly, but so that could have been it. The second reason is, and people didn't understand or didn't realize this on Jeeps, but a lot of CJs have filler in them, and they had filler in them from the very beginning because they were sent from the dealership. This is kind of interesting because it makes, you can kind of see them here actually. You see these, there's a little bit of dimples going down the side here. And if you look where that is, it's right where this wheel well was welded in there, okay? Or spot weld, whatever they call it. This is actually almost like patina anymore. It's almost like collector Jeeps they've really gone after, and they want to see this in them. And from the dealer, they've seen this, and sometimes they were even a little bit wavy. So a lot of dealerships back in the day would literally take these Jeeps and send them directly to a body shop, and they would lather them up. So if you get a Jeep and you're wondering why there's filler in it, usually it's not a lot of filler, but if there's ever any filler and you can't see any damage, for example, this one, I can tell you right now, this probably wasn't hit because those right there, which is essentially like what's on the bottom, torque pockets, they're not banged up at all. They're not disshaped or anything like that. And if that were to take a rear end, you'd have damage there. You would see it. You'd have seam damage. There would be something back here indicating this has happened. So it could have been replaced maybe. Maybe it was rear-ended and it was replaced, but I think we would see something in here. We'd see ripples. We'd see something. You know, the body shops are pretty dang good, but a lot of them back in the day, especially on these ones, there was always some sign of something. So I don't see anything like that. On this one, my guess on this one is probably what I just said. It was the fact that this probably was one they lathered up a little bit. So, and it could have been too that they did have a spare tire carrier that was around here, and maybe it didn't have a major enough to get pushed all the way in, but maybe it just enough to give you a little bit, because it does feel maybe a little bit there. So so do know there is some repair work here. Nonetheless, it is what it is on this, and you can see we can try to peel some of this back. We peel, and when we hit this, when we actually wash it, our washer's pretty strong. It's probably going to peel off. We can. So we're talking about that thick, not too bad. I'll show you that tub over there, but that one actually had damage, and they lathered that one up. And that one's got like that thick. So thin is not too shabby, at least as far as you know. So anyway, just trying to show you what's behind the best we can on it. We've had a really, really good, solid reputation for selling people what they want and getting what they bought, and we've done that for a long time. So, and the way we do it is just not, you know, this kind of stuff versus sitting here not messing with it. At least you can kind of see. So far I haven't seen anything actually dented, so it looks like they just might have flattened it. But we will, this again could be one of those areas that, you know, we hit it with that 4,500 psi hot washer, and it'll take off a lot of this, and all of a sudden there's some, you know, damage here, and now we got to adjust it down because we thought maybe this was just lathered up. Okay, same thing with these corners. Well, obviously there's a little bit I can see just from probably some sort of tail light they had on it, maybe the factory ones, but metal's a little wafted there. So a little bit of cleanup work there, and back through in this area, and then reach back up here. Yeah, this all feels pretty good. I don't see what's flaking off in here. Might just be paint or rubber. Sometimes they line them. Yeah, I don't feel anything, but we'll look at that here in a second. I'm gonna lift it up. So all right, so far so good. So far so good. I'm not seeing anything that's calling out to us on alert. So and we'll lift it up and just confirm what we're seeing. One of the things I always say, and I'll tell you this right before we get there, so that if I get there, I'm not going to cover it up, obviously. But one of my favorite things to make sure is not bad in the tub is torque pockets. Torque pockets are what attaches the tub's bottom to your frame, and they're replaceable, but they're hard to do, and they're consuming in cost. So they're not very expensive overall. You can buy them. Probably fairly inexpensive, but the labor to put them on, whether you do it or somebody else does it, can be counterproductive. So we'll lift it up and see how those look. Like I said, I'm going to put the phone down and shake this thing a little bit, try to get the dirt out from under and balance it a little better before I get it underneath it. So, but right here, this is like the other side we were looking at. This one doesn't appear to be bad at all. So it looks like that passenger side is the only side that actually had the damage on it. But let's just take that, and so I would come up on the Jeep and go, okay, that one looks good, okay, and then I'd walk around and go, oh, that one's not good. So I'd start basing off what I want to buy for the Jeep based on that stuff. So this I couldn't see, obviously. Now we can. The roll bar's not in it, and there are a couple little pinholes here. There's one right there. Actually, that one pushing down on it. I don't know if you can see that. Kind of forcing the metal, the soft stuff out. So a little bit bigger than a quarter there, and not so much in the lip in the back area, more on the floor there. Of course, you got your dryer floor, which crap all over the place right now. This one, of course, this will get nice and washed out and cleaned up so you can see everything. But this has got a nice, there's no rust in this. Matter of fact, you can see right there, getting all down through the dirt there, and it's got hard floors, no rust in this whatsoever. And that doesn't even look like it's been patched. So still going off of a low A right now. And on that note, one more thing. Again, I'm going to talk your ear off, but our process is this: A's, B's, and C's. It's really easy to grade a YJ, which is 87, and up. 97 is up as TJ, and then of course JK is a 7, and then now we're even into JLs and JTs. It's really easy to give those tubs a grade. We still grade these, but it's done a little differently. So if you're used to seeing our YJ tubs at grade A's, usually something like this, you know, an equivalent tub, this would be, at least at this point, still a grade A on a YJ tub. And I'm still considering this one as of right now. Again, we'll lift it up and see. And I just mean that because there's 18 years I've been doing this, a long time, and over those course of years, I can literally count on one hand how many 5s and how many 7s that I've had in here that I would even put into that. So for me to at this point consider this still an A, and that may change here in a minute, but for me to consider that as still an A is saying quite a bit. Whereas like that guy over there, and I haven't looked at that one super close, but I know there's some filler in it and it's fairly thick, so there's got to be some damage. There's probably some rust in that one, but maybe not, who knows, it may just be, you know, some damage. That one right now, I can tell you right now, we would have that in like a B. And then of course a C, which I really don't even say I would even mess with, but there is one over there, it's that blue one, that one's actually listed right now. And that's one that's been tried, and really that one just is a C because it was repaired, but it really wasn't repaired correctly. And sometimes when people get in there and repair them, they almost create more work for the next person, so we downgrade them quite a bit. But that's what you're looking at. So you're going to see the sky for just a moment here. So it didn't take much, and it's already landing like it's going to fall. So I'm going to have to get a better bite on it. I hate to make you sit there for a minute, but unfortunately, I want to keep doing this. I got to make sure I don't crush it. Alright, I'll show you what I'm doing so you can see. This one, what I think is done, what's made this one a little harder to pick up right now. You see nothing, it's just on the frame right now, but the purchase, the leaf springs, at least the four of maybe it's just the rear ones. Looks like the fronts might be there. But I use those for centering, and they kind of help balance these up when we pick them up this way. And then to top it off, I got a bunch of shit that's in this thing, so that kind of makes it disbalanced proportionally. So I'll have to get a better bite. There's a motor in this thing, so the front is a lot heavier than the rear. I want to make sure I pick this up correctly. So yeah, so the front spring works is there. This frame, so that frame is already it does turn out to be a good frame because for whatever reason they've knocked the rear perches off. So, and now you can get those new. That's not a big deal. But we're gonna try to go back underneath. Sucks because it is windy too, so that doesn't help. So we get the thing to stop rolling. Okay, so if our garage wasn't so backed up with work right now, I would be in the garage with this thing, but that's not going to happen. Next few weeks probably. All right, so let's go look at, first let's look at torque pocket since I brought that up. So we got one broken bolt right there. This is a floating one, meaning that you can actually get into this one. So if you're gonna have a broken bolt, this is the one to have because it's easy to replace. The rest of them are fairly boxed in. This one is loose, it's good, we're floating, that's how it should be. So that means the threads are good now. It's not in it. And this one's good as well. Same thing, this will be another one that's easy to replace if needed, but that one's good as well. This guy was just still in it, so I don't know if that one just hasn't been, actually all of these are in it, so it just looks like somebody started, just didn't get too far. So imagine this one come out, we'll hope this one does as well, and then this one hopefully comes out as well. So there's the damage that we're seeing from the bottom there, passenger side, at the feet of your roll bar, okay? And then all the rest of this looks real nice and solid, it kind of matches the floors bottom. Okay, so that covers passenger side, and then go back to the driver's side, and there's nothing more that goes windy, so but anyway, so those all look nice and this is the stuff that was flipping off that was floating on the inside. It looks like brown underneath, so somebody lined it, or maybe lined a spot since it's a little pain. And then of course we're looking at this stuff here. We got looks like some wasp nests or something, little mud, whatever they call them. Seams look good. Corners look good. There's no really damage there at all. That was a little bit I seen, kind of where you can see it bent out there for the tail light, but overall that's actually nice and clean too. So corners are good in it, and then it's in the back boxed in area, and we hope these won't come out. Not the funnest ones to do, but you can't get in here and replace them if they don't. And being that I'll probably be the one dismantling it, I can usually break those free. Get a little heat on them. So, and then same thing, that one's in. And then let's look at this corner. Yeah, nice and yeah, all this is just what was flaking off in there. So no rust in those corners look great. So that diamond plate, from what it looks like, at least here, is all aesthetic. They did it for look. So, and then we can't really see what's under here too much, other than this flaky liner trap that's all over it. But the seams got a little bit of rust in them there. You see that? They're kind of starting to flake a little bit. This is all kind of due with this little damage that's in this corner here. And they get pretty clean down here. This will come off as well. Yeah, these seams are nice and clean, so you're not getting to mess with those at all. So that looks great. And then the tunnel, of course, that's up through the middle here. That looks great. And then, of course, you got your, let's see if I can find them real quick. Yeah, so this one, the gas tank's hiding a little bit of it. You'll have a mount here and a mount here. And these are in there, yep, so they're still in there. This one's still in there, yep, that's still in there. So we'll just have to kind of look at this and hope that the other side looks like this does. And again, if we got in there and it didn't, or was, you know, for some reason wasted, from what we can look at the top though, I'm thinking we're pretty safe on this one. So it'll be priced as an A-, just because the head does have a few things, but overall this is a very, very clean and usable tub, especially for a later CJ5 tub. And again, remember the difference on those mainly is just the roll bar where it mounts. So the early ones are on top, and the later ones to the floor, those feet. So I'm going to lower it down, give you one more bird's eye view of it. And this is a little bit longer of a video, but since we have at least one and maybe two customers that have been looking for this year, I want to make sure we're thorough with it. Obviously there's some crap in it, but what you can expect from us if you decide to take a chance, your deposit's 10% of the tub total, okay? And again, it takes us, right now we have 2 that sold yesterday, so we'll have probably about a week out before we'll be able to get on this one. Once they get on it, that means it's going to get completely dismantled. The diamond plate comes off, the foot peg things come off, hoods separated from the frame completely, emptied out, mounts, heater boxes, everything you can possibly think of will be pulled in this thing, partly because we sell all that stuff, and also because we want to give you a better bird's eye view. When I say bird's eye view, I mean it like you're standing here next to me. That's the point of this video. So you're looking at it and you're making sure this and this and this and this, and hopefully I didn't miss anything. And if I did, definitely give me a holler, shoot me a text, email, call. Phone call is the best, to be honest with you, but you know, either or. And then yeah, we'll wash it top, bottom, and then we'll get it back in the air. It'll be a little more stable because there won't be anything else on it, and do another complete video. Usually that one will be about 10-15 minutes long. Do another series of photos, and at that point it's yours. Now, what if you change your mind? If you change your mind because you change your mind, that's it. The deposit is non-refundable. However, I will let you put it as a store credit, so you can put it towards anything else you want in the store, and you don't have to use it right now. But because we've sacrificed putting individuals, and because we're low on individuals right now, towards something, that is the reason for the deposit. Is not a, you know, people ask me that sometimes, like, well, do I get my money back if I change my mind? Well, no, that's not the point of deposit. I don't want to be harsh when I say that, but that's the reality of it. Deposits are usually not refundable. Now, if we get into it and we go, well, crap, man, I'm sorry, we didn't see, this is way wiped out here or whatever. We'll adjust it down and we'll give you that price before we even talk to you, or well, we'll talk to you obviously, but we'll give it to you as we're talking to you, and you'll have to determine if that's something you want to do or not. That's 100% refundable in that case. You say, nope, it's not what I wanted, I'm going to keep looking. That's fine, keep looking. This is probably the cleanest tub I've had in 3 or 4 years for a CJ5. The cleanest 7 tub I have at the moment is actually in my garage right now, and it's getting trannies pulled out of it, and they'll come out. It won't have a full dismantle probably until it sells, but that's the cleanest one I've had in one of those in a while. So I happen to have 2, one CJ5, one CJ7 right now, for those who are looking to jump onto this next load that we have coming out up here in a few weeks. So, all right, 303-666-9020, partsbreakers.com. Call us about the trip if you're interested. It's something we're putting together. We do it twice a year normally. My wife is pregnant. She's due in January. I'll only do it once this year. And it's going to be October, maybe November, first week in November or middle of October. And that kind of just depends on what we can get done out here in the next couple weeks. So, all right. Otherwise, if you're interested in a lower grade tub, you've seen this video and you go, I don't want to spend, what they're going to want for this thing, which, it's not cheap, but it's not crazy either. And it's an original tub. Give us a call. That's okay. We have, I have one over there that's a lower grade. That's really cheap. I think that thing's around $1,000, maybe a little bit more, but not by much. And then, I rarely do pricing in videos, so you're getting a little bit of an advantage here in these. That one there, I have no idea. I'll have to get that one further down to even give an assessment on it. But I would imagine that one could be as cheap as that one, or it could be right in the middle of these two. So, and I think that's it for 5 tubs that I have at the moment for those. I just sold a 72, 75. I have one more of those non-tailgate that's really nice. It was started as a project. So that will be up here. And that one is basically done. I just got to get it listed. So, and then that's it right now for 5s. So, all right. Thank you very much. And hopefully, Luke, this serves you well with this customer and others. Luke is learning. He's been a buddy of mine for a long time. And he's come on board with the company a few months ago, and it is a lot of information to learn each year and what makes this. And the best thing I can tell you, man, and I tell everybody this, is don't try to force it down your throat and just learn it. Just take it as you go, and it'll come to you. It'll come to you if it's a passion for you, and I know it is. So otherwise, I appreciate it, guys, and have a great weekend. It is Thursday, September 21st, 2023.